Good morning and thank you for joining us for this morning, Monday, September 21st, 2015. Coming to you live from the Cobb Fire headquarters in Sacramento. I'm Daniel Berlant with the Fire Situation Report. The latest on the fires burning right now in California. Last week, firefighters were very busy, not only with the major fires, the Valley and the Butte fire that were very destructive, which we'll talk about here in a moment, but there were nearly 150 new wildfires across the state. The local, state, and federal firefighters battled. Most of those fires, absolutely almost all of them actually, were contained in their initial stages. Only a couple of them have become large and damaging fires. We'll talk about those right now. So as you can see, across the state, there are 10 active wildfires burning in California right now. 2 fires sparked yesterday over the weekend in the Central Valley and Monterey County. We'll talk about those fires in just a moment, but I want to get to the largest fire of the bunch and the most destructive fire. That's the Valley Fire. The Valley Fire started now over a week ago and has already burned over 75,000 acres. In fact, 75,781 acres have burned. This fire now 70% contained. You can see majority of the fire is in Lake County. That's right here. There's portions of it that have burned into the area known as the geysers in Sonoma County, and over here in Napa County, a small portion as well in the Butts Canyon region. Now, as this fire has, firefighters have continued to make very good progress on this fire. Many of the evacuations have now been lifted, including in Middletown, in Hidden Valley Lakes. There are still some evacuations that remain in place. Those are mostly up in this region here near the community of Cobb where the fire started. Now, this fire has been a very destructive fire. I want to show you some video here that was shot. This is last week. You can just see some of the destruction that this fire left in its path. Already this fire, the totals now mount up to over 1,700 structures. That's homes, outbuildings, commercial buildings, other structures like that have all been destroyed by this fire. You can just see just the remnants of homes that were left in the path of this fire. Now, firefighters still were able to save thousands and thousands of others, though, that were threatened by this fire. In fact, at one point, this fire threatened several thousand homes. There are still today some homes that are being threatened, but for a majority of them now, those homeowners being allowed back in. The reason, though, that other evacuated areas still remain evacuated, that's particularly in the Cobb Mountain area, is because there's still infrastructure down. There's still power lines down. There are still trees that are along the roadways that crews are mopping up. All in total, though, on the number of structures, over 1,000 homes burned, over 640 outbuildings. That's barns, sheds, garages, things like that. Again, these are just very sad photos and video from the aftermath of the Valley Fire itself. Again, 75,781 acres burned, 70% contained. Today, there are still about 3,500 structures that are threatened by this fire. Firefighters are still focusing on continuing the containment of the majority of the other 30% of this fire, but also hot spots. All throughout the fire, there are areas where there are smoke, where there are hot embers that continue to flare up, firefighters suppressing those. There are parts of this fire that are very difficult to get to. You can see from these aerial shots just how mountainous this region is. This is the Cobb Mountain area that really took the brunt of this fire in those initial hours, or even in those initial minutes. You can just see the destruction it did, not only to the homes in these neighborhoods, but also to the forest land. A lot of damage done to the Boggs Mountain State Forest that is in the general area where the fire started. This right here is actually the Boggs Mountain Forest. Here you can see some PG&E utility crews working to take down a line. This power line, you can see severe damage down here towards the bottom. The crews are taking the wiring down and completely removing that pole altogether. So a very destructive fire in all total. Firefighters, though, making very good progress. This fire now in the top 5 of the most destructive wildfires in our state's history. Crews are still out there doing a damage assessment, figuring out just exactly that total number of homes and buildings destroyed by the fire. I want to zoom out, talk a little bit about some of those new fires that burned last over the weekend. Down in the Central Valley, this is in Monterey County, where 2 fires started in Monterey County. The first one was the Ahora Fire. It has so far burned just over 1,000 acres. It's 30% contained, just about 2.5 miles north of Jamesburg. There are some evacuations in effect over here. The other fires that started on over the weekend on Sunday was the Loreless fire. It started in the Loreless grade off Highway 68, also in Monterey County, 95 acres and 95% contained. Again, both of these fires in Monterey County. Good progress being made on those fires. The other large fire of the week right now that's continuing to burn is the Rough Fire. The U.S. Forest Service battling this fire. This fire has now grown to 141,950 acres. It is 70% contained. This fire burning on both the Sierra and the Sequoia National Forest. If you want more information on the Rough Fire, you can go to our website, fire.ca.gov. We have a link to InstaWeb, which is the Forest Service's page for information. The other fire that crews have really focused on over the last several days is the Butte Fire. This past week, I should say, over a week now. This fire has been burning just east of Jackson all the way through San Andreas. It has now burned 70,760 acres. It's been holding at that acreage. It's now 74% contained. There are still homes that are threatened, just like in the Valley Fire. Crews are still doing mop-ups, still making sure those hot spots are put out. This fire, too, a very destructive fire. 545 homes have been destroyed, over 350 outbuildings. I've got one more video just to kind of show you an idea. This is the Ahora Fire in Monterey County yesterday. You can still see, while progress is being made, there is still some active fire. This fire burning through much hilly areas throughout Monterey County. Yesterday, overnight, we started to get some coastal breeze, which helped kind of cool temperatures down, especially as they had been even in the triple digits in some parts of the state. You can see here's a helicopter, a large helicopter dropping water on one of those hot spots. So when we talk about firefighters putting out hot spots, it's not only crews on the ground, but also helicopters in the air making water drop after water drop. Here's another helicopter coming in again to drop right on top of this fire. This was a very fast-moving fire. It quickly ignited. It did a lot of damage. There were homes that were destroyed in this fire. You can just see how close this fire is burning up to these homes. We're hoping most of these homes had good defensible space. You can kind of see, even though there's trees around this home, they've cleared out this brush right in here. This is what we talk about for defensible space. That's what we want to see, is good clearance all the way around a home, so that that defensible space gives you at least a little fighting chance or an increase in the homes surviving a wildfire. I want to switch over to our weather for this week. We are expecting to see cooler temperatures from what we saw last week. Temperatures are expected to start going down, but by the end of the week, they're going to go back up. Not as high as they were. We are going to see a little bit of a cooling trend. Down in Los Angeles County, 94 degrees, 83 degrees, still hot, but we are going to see some rainfall. So there could be some cooler temperatures here in the mix, and even a little bit of rainfall coming in to parts of Southern California. So overall, we are expecting to see cooler temperatures. We're hoping the fire risk will go down a little bit, but there's still likely that it will be higher than it should be for this late in September. But remember, historically, it's September and October when we experience our largest and our most damaging wildfires. So it's still important that we all make sure we're doing our part to prevent sparking a fire. If you want the latest on all these fires that are burning, you can also zoom in on this interactive Google Fire map on our website at fire.ca.gov. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. That's the weekly update on the fires burning in California. I'm Daniel Berlant. Have a fire-safe week.